Yo, what's good? Today, I'm going to be showing you how I made this Mandalorian mask starting from cardboard. Let's get it. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to download the template in the link in the description and print it. By the way, do not cut on this black line right here, cut on the lighter gray line on some of these cheap pieces. I cut all the template pieces out and then I lined them up according to the letters. So J goes with J. I taped it all together just to check size and how it would fit my head, and it looked good, so I started the process of transferring it onto cardboard. So if you see these perforation things, it means pretty much these lines in the cardboard. So when you're tracing it onto the cardboard, make sure the perforation lines on the template are lined up with the perforation marks on the cardboard. This will just help make it easier to bend all of the pieces. So as you can see here, all of my pieces are according to the perforation on the cardboard. Okay, next I traced out all of the pieces onto cardboard. Remember, this is only 1/2, so you're going to have to flip it later on another piece of cardboard. So we need to discuss these top bevel things. So what you're going to want to do is trace those onto your pieces, and pretty much what these mean is a top bevel means you need to cut at a certain angle that goes out like this, and a bevel under means that you need to cut in. So make sure you're cutting on the black line though. Next, I cut out all the pieces and then I started gluing them together. By the way, these steps only took me 1 day to get the entire helmet glued together. Next, I added some supports before I resined it, just so that it didn't harden in a weird way. I also had this gap at the back. I was confused, but I just left it. I thought maybe it was something wrong with the template, or maybe I just glued the pieces on wrong. I just left it because I knew the back piece would cover it. Next, I took some resin and I covered it on the inside and outside. Okay, now we can get to the wood filling. Make sure you have enough, by the way. No! Okay, so pretty much you're going to want to sand down your helmet with some sandpaper so that the wood filler has something to go on. And pretty much you're just going to slap a whole ton of this stuff onto your helmet and just spread it around with your fingers using some water. Just make it as smooth as possible. This just makes it easier for the sanding bits, and make sure you cover up all the cracks well. Okay, next I took a very low grit sandpaper and I started sanding the wood filler down as much as I could. Okay. Just got back from sanding, and the helmet looks great, but there are a few bits that are not sand. Well, there's a few nicks here and there that I need to fill in, and I stopped sanding because I actually broke this bit. It actually snapped. Still on, but snapped. So what I'm gonna do, so I'm gonna hot glue this piece back on, and then I'm gonna have to figure out how to make this helmet even stronger. Really, the only thing I did to make it stronger was I cut these pieces out, and I figured that they would make it stronger just because they're extra pieces and they kind of connect the pieces in a way that'll make it stronger. So I cut those pieces out on cardboard and I glued them on. Next, we need to talk about the side panels. In this clip, it shows you how you need to put them together. So as you can see on these bottom pieces, one of them says ×2. That pretty much means just make 2 of those and glue them together. And then you have this middle piece on the top, and then this top piece on the top, and then on the bottom piece you have this top piece. Wow, that sounded really confusing. Okay, so I transferred those onto cardboard, cut them out, and then glued them together, and then glued them on the mask. Also, I had this line that I glued on, which is, if you look at reference images, is also on the mask. Next, you take this strip of cardboard, I think it said it was 16 inches long on the template, and you glue that all the way down the helmet. And then you make the back panel, and it's pretty self-explanatory. Next, I resined all the pieces I've just shown. Okay, now I'm going to wood fill all of the pieces that we just put on. Okay, so right now it looks pretty crap. So we're gonna have to sand all of this down. But before I did that, I actually took a knife and I kind of like grazed the wood filler and kind of got rid of any bumps or any unwanted surfaces that would have been hard to get with sandpaper. And I found this step really helpful, and I don't think my mask would look as good as it does if I hadn't have done this step. You get sharper points if you do this. As I was making this, I realized that the cheeks had a little bit of curvature to them that I didn't like. I wanted them to be straight. So I took some wood filler and made sure that was straight and it didn't have any curves. I took a lot of time on this step because I realized that if I did this step well, it would look really good, and it does. Next, I took a nail file and I filed down the side pieces because I found it hard to get to them with normal sandpaper, so I highly recommend this. Next, I took 2 pieces of long cardboard and I glued it to the inside of the helmet. This just adds an extra aspect to the helmet being a helmet. Okay, next is probably the most time-consuming step, is making sure it's smooth. So first thing I did was I primered the entire thing. Okay, so it's the next day and it's dry now from all the priming. Now I can see all of the mistakes I made and all of that stuff when I was wood filling and sanding, and now I know what I need to fill and what I need to sand and how much more I need to sand and all of these things. And to be honest, I've got a lot of work to do. Yes, Parker, you have a lot of work to do. So pretty much after this step, there was a long period of time where I didn't film because it was such a time-consuming process. So pretty much what happened is I primered it, and then I filled in all the mistakes, and then I sanded it, and then I primered it again. And I did this quite a few different times, probably around 4 different times, until I was finally happy with the smoothness of it. And then I went on to black gloss paint, which my first coat was good and it looked fantastic. But I thought I could make it even better if I applied some clear gloss paint. So I did that, but in the morning after it had dried, it had this weird like cloudy effect. I don't know why. It might have been the temperature I had sprayed it in or something, but I didn't like it, so I had to sand all of that off and then do another coat of black gloss, and then I was done with the painting phase. As you can see, the black gloss paint kind of gives it that mirror effect that we want from this metal helmet. So I highly recommend doing that because you're not going to really get a good metal effect unless you do this. Next we have the visor. So pretty much I traced it out and then I put it onto this visor piece that I got from Amazon, and then I'm going to glue it on after I've done my graphite powder. So graphite powder was probably the most satisfying part of this project because this gives it the metal effect. So what this does is it pretty much gives the helmet a silver look while keeping the gloss finish and the mirror finish of the black gloss paint. So as you can see here, it gives it a very nice metal effect that we want for this Mandalorian helmet. After this was done, we were pretty much done with the helmet. This is pretty much it. I mean, there's a few bumps in here and you can see the pieces of the template still in there, but it looks absolutely fantastic for once being cardboard. Next, I glued in the visor and that was it. And after 3 months of work, I was done. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is probably my best helmet I've ever made, and they're only getting better. So make sure you subscribe because I'm actually trying to beat Sean's Crafts in subscribers. Right now, I'm only at 29 subscribers, so please help. Anyways, make sure you like this video, check out some of my other videos. I don't have many up right now, but I'm going to film a couple of tutorials on how to use wood filler and how to use resin and all these other things that'll make your masks pop. So you don't want to miss those. So put your notifications on, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.